Thank you for clicking on this video. In this one, we're going to be checking out the new Markbass Yellow series short scale bass. How does it sound? How does it feel? It looks an awful lot like a Yellow Bronco bass. Well, let's find out together. This is from the new Markbass Yellow line, and as I understand it, it's targeting the more entry-level price bracket. This short scale bass features a 30-inch scale measured from saddle to nut. This has a poplar body, a bolt-on maple neck, a laurel fingerboard, and a nice touch is a matching yellow headstock. So this looks like a pretty standard Squier or Fender 5-screw bent metal bridge. And the tuners here look pretty similar to those found on the Squier Mini P and the Squier Sonic Series Bronco. The nut width is 1.5 inches, so very similar to a jazz bass. The electronics feature a single coil pickup here with master volume and master tone. Well, let's find out how it sounds. Let's first start with the volume all the way up and the tone knob all the way down. Let's roll that tone knob up to about 25%. Now let's roll that tone knob up to about 50. Now let's roll the tone knob all the way up, 100%. And as you can hear, there's definitely ground hum. And that buzzing you can hear in the background. It gets better as you turn the tone knob down. But wide open, definitely buzz. Well, let's hear this bass in the context of a drum track so we can hear how the sounds sit with other sounds. We're going to have 3 passes to this track. The first one, we'll have the tone knob all the way closed at 0%. Second pass, tone knob up at 50%. And the third pass, all the way up at 100. Here we go. hope you enjoyed that playing example. Please let me know what you thought of the tones by leaving a comment below. Alright, well, what are some of the good things about this bass? The first thing I'll say is it's very lightweight and it's pretty comfortable to play. This particular example came in at 7 pounds and 8 ounces. In terms of balance, most Mustang style or Music Master style basses of this nature, given the short horn, always tend to be a little neck divey. And this one's no different. But in terms of playability and neck dimensions, this one is pretty comfortable under my hand. But it feels eerily similar to a Bronco bass. Other things I like. For the asking price of 399 Canadian dollars, which is what I paid for this bass, it came with a Markbass branded gig bag, which is a nice touch. And inside, you also get a free guitar strap. I have always been a fan of matching headstocks. So, like when I had my F bass made, I had a matching headstock made. But this, the bright Markbass signature yellow color, is also featured on a matching headstock. So I think that's a nice touch. Things I don't like now. Well, where to start? I gave the same criticism for the Bronco Sonic series bass. And this single coil pickup here, I realized they are kind of channeling their Music Master vibe, but it's noisy. And this particular pickup, the low end, sounds a bit on the anemic and thinner side. And if we were designing a bass from the ground up, I don't know why we would be limiting ourselves to this single coil pickup. So I think Markbass kind of missed the mark on that one, no pun intended. I think they could have put a different pickup in here, maybe a precision style or a small humbucker or something else, something other than this. And I think it would have made this instrument much more sonically pleasing. Other things I didn't like. The setup overall, out of the box, was okay, but this particular one came out of the box wildly not intonated. All 4 strings rang very, very sharp at the 12th fret, so this one did need some intonation tweaking. The other thing is I feel the nut on the low E string was cut a bit too high. It's hard to appreciate on the camera, but that's a little higher than what I'd like. In terms of fretwork, overall the polishing is decent, but the edges, as is pretty on par with other instruments of this price bracket, the edges do have some sharp ends on them. There's not a lot of fret sprout, but the edges are still sharp. I'm going to put the bass up to the microphone so you can hear. I play with a glove to protect my fragile hands and my arthritic joints, but you can hear it catching on the fret ends. So especially here around kind of the 10, 11, 12 and beyond frets, they're pretty sharp. Now, I mentioned earlier that I like the matching color headstock, which I do. However, from a design point of view, this headstock shape, I don't find visually pleasing. It almost looked like a monster or some kind of animal came and just chewed off a piece. It's got funny angles and curves where I don't think they belong. And proportionally, the headstock is a little bit larger as well. So this distance here from the middle of the tuning peg to the edge is slightly wider than something, say, my Fender Mustang. So I think proportionally the headstock is a bit large and I don't like the shape. But having said that, that's purely aesthetic and that's just me. Now the yellow color I think can be polarizing. I remember when Markbass first hit the scene, this was probably late 90s, early 2000s, and they debuted their yellow colored speaker cones. And at first I'm like, oh, that's a rad color. That's bright. That's awesome. You can see it on any dark stage. And it's certainly become their signature color. But if you are looking for a bass that's a little more subdued in color, this ain't it. But if you're looking to stand out, it's bright yellow. Surely going to be great for photographs on stage. Well, this brings us to the latter half of the video, where the question that's begging to be asked is this actually a Squier Sonic Series Bronco bass that's been painted yellow? Because the knobs look very similar to a Sonic Series Bronco. The bridge looks very similar to a Sonic Series Bronco. The tuners look like they came directly off a Sonic Series Bronco. The neck feels very similar, although arguably the neck finish I feel on the Markbass feels a little nicer and smoother than the Bronco. But is it a Bronco? Well, let's find out. So in this video, I'm going to pop the hood, I'm going to take the pickguard off, and we'll have a look at the pickguard and the pickup, and we'll compare it to photos that I took of the Sonic Series Bronco that I featured last year. So let's see what's under the hood. All right, well, let's examine this bass. Let's detune the strings first. That should be enough. Now let's take off the pickguard. All right, well, let's have a look. Well, here we go. So as you can see from the photo I just put up, the body routing is very, very similar, if not the same as a Squier Sonic Series Bronco. Similar to a Sonic Bronco, there's no shielding in this body at all. And as well, there's no shielding underneath the pickguard. Now, the pickup looks different than the Sonic Series Bronco. Namely, there's a kind of a bar magnet style pickup here on this Markbass. So that's different than the Bronco. So it looks like a different pickup, but it's still a single coil, so it's still gonna hum. So there you go. We've looked under the hood of this Markbass Yellow Series short scale bass. Overall, I think it's a pretty comfortable instrument to play. My preference, if I were to choose between this and the Broncos, I prefer the maple fingerboard on the Sonic Bronco that I shot all those videos with. The Laurel fingerboards on just about any entry-level bass I always find dry and coarse. So it's the feeling under my fingers when I play it that I don't enjoy as much. So it's too bad this didn't come with a maple fingerboard. Now, at time of filming, the Markbass Yellow, the little yellow, was selling for 399 Canadian dollars, and a Sonic Series Squier Bronco was selling for about 290 or so. So what do you get for an extra $100? You get a different pickup, but it's still a single coil. You get a matching painted headstock, and you get a gig bag and a strap. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. Your viewership is very much appreciated. Until next time, peace.